Identity management is critical for the growth and transformation of a nation. In view of this, the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, in its 2014 annual lecture, looked at how identity management can help in the new economic frontier and improve financial services in the nation. In a welcome address, the president of the CIBN, Mrs Debola Osibogun, described the annual lecture as one that creates a platform for public and private sector stakeholders to discuss the way forward for the economy and, of course, improve policy advocacy.
Every gathering of this nature marks a step towards the fulfillment of our vision, and I quote, to be the global reference point for professionalism and ethics in the banking and financial industry through thought leadership and capacity building, end of quote. The annual lecture is one of the Institute's major contributions towards policy advocacy and national development.
She believed that it was a critical time for the nation to look at how it can effectively plan through biometric data capture and identity management, considering the changing faces of the financial industry.
Within the industry, issues of identification are of concern to both customers and banks, making the application of biometric technology critical.
The chairman of the occasion and managing director of Ecobank, Mr. Jibril, in his remarks, described the current plan of the bank verification number as well as the biometric data capture and identity management as a key pivotal structure that will enable seamless financial services if fully implemented and the guidelines strictly adhered to.
And so the topic of the day is really something that troubles us because it will define banking as we move on to the next decade. The issue of identity and how we continue to control, given the fact that we are also moving to electronic payment platform where value is given immediately. So I felt that the topic is something that we want to identify with, and also as a member of the NIPS board, it's some challenge that we have also looked at. And I know that the guest speakers invested time, energy into developing CHAMPS to become today one of the principal organizations for identity management. And when they collaborated with the Bankers Committee for the BVN project, which was a huge project for which the banking system funded, and for which today we are going to be going through an aggressive compliance to meet the target of June 30th, that all bank next year, June 30th, 2015, that all bank customers should have biometric ID. So it's an aggressive rollout and there's regulatory compliance with it.
Delivering the guest lecture for the day, Mr. Ademola Aladekomo, the CEO of CHAMPS PLC, a company that has carved a niche for itself in providing card services in the country, gave the analogy on how proper identity management can transform Nigeria, giving it strong impetus in terms of economic growth and transformation.
Our problem should not be generalized. Yes, there are criminals among us, just like any other nation. They're less than 1%. How do we identify them? And how do we sequester them? How do we corner them and put them in their sizes? So that before they even travel out, before they apply for that visa, we already admit them in the board so that it do not do any kind of damage. Still talking about identity, let's come to personal level. We have economic and financial, we're in an economic and financial quagmire. And a popular author that a lot of us will have read, Anados De Soto's, in the Ministry of Capital, came up with something that spoke a lot about we documenting our assets, about we being able to identify our properties, about being able to attach identities onto those assets and properties. That if you are not able to do that, economies that are not able to do that will forever remain poor. It says, imagine a country where nobody can identify who owns what, addresses cannot be verified, people cannot be made to pay their debts, Resources cannot be conveniently turned into money. Ownership cannot be divided into shares. Description of assets are not standardized and cannot be easily compared. And the rules that govern property vary from neighborhood to neighborhood, or even from street to street.
It is important for a country to plan and also look at how it can attain development. But this will not be achieved if it cannot handle the issue of identity management. Particularly in the 21st century where technology is deployed, Nigeria needs to get it right in terms of identity management. And we hope that all stakeholders will come together to ensure that this is done and achieved.